Yay, we're live. Okay, congratulations, us, to Team Uncoached for going live. We are here today. Welcome to Materialize TV. Today, we are going to be talking about materializing alignment. And we have here with us 3 members of the amazing Team Uncoached. And the ones that are not on with us are just as amazing. So shout out to those of you who are on Team Uncoached. But anyways, I myself am Tracy Warren. If we haven't met yet, we've got Amber McDaniel on our team, as well as Melissa Kessler. And we're super excited to have somewhat of a roundtable discussion, if you will, around alignment. We talk a lot about alignment. We seek alignment. However, that is, I feel like, a word that has become more popular, gained traction over the last, 5 or so years. It's not that it didn't exist beforehand, but I think people's awareness in general is growing. And so the people that are not familiar with it, it's okay. It's okay. Let's talk about what alignment is. It can mean possibly slightly different things for different people. And so we want to be aware of that. And it is one thing to just talk about alignment, but then we've got to consider, what are you trying to gain alignment with? Just because you're in alignment doesn't mean it's a good thing, right? If you're in alignment with what is not serving you, then what's the point of being aligned in the first place? So ladies, I'm going to just open it up and pass it over to you. The way that, just so that you know, if you are sort of new to the Materialize TV roundtable style, is that we have represented what we feel like our mind, body, spirit categories by the people of us here speaking with you today. And so I myself like to bring things of the brain to the table. Amber likes to bring things of the heart to the table, and then Melissa likes to bring things of the body to the table. So then we can have a really well-balanced and holistic discussion on whatever topic is at hand today. So there you
go. Go ahead, Melissa.
I'm starting. Okay. So as far as alignment, I had so many things to say about it. I'm like, I don't know where I want to start. But what is really, really cool, and I think this is an important story because it started out when I actually joined CEO Flow, which is Uncoached's program here. And when I joined, it didn't take very long for me to achieve this alignment in what I was doing. And Tracy helped me point out that all along I had been trying to coach in the health world, when really I am a teacher. That is one of my top gifts. And when I found that alignment, it changed everything for me. And what's really interesting, I sit here and I talk about the body. And when I found that alignment within my business, it aligned everything in my body, which is really pretty cool of how that works, that when we find alignment in all the areas of our lives, it affects us physically and mentally and in every way, you know? So that's kind of where I want to start it off. I think it's just fun how it all happened and how it led to that complete alignment in my body. And even like lessened my stress levels and everything else. Like, it affected me so in such a big way with that one little tweak of aligning myself.
So let me bring to people's awareness, if they're not familiar with this. So one of the things that Melissa is talking about when she's saying aligned in her body, you may, if you don't understand what she means by that, one of the ways that I think about it is that when I have stress or discomfort with an idea, then my heart might start to pound. I may start to sweat. My fingers may tingle. There could be any numbers of tiny, tiny little things that happen physically with the body. That is kind of our bodies moving into fight or flight mode, right? However, when we are in alignment with whatever thought and idea that we're processing, then our body can remain calm and at ease. And we can move forward and take action in an aligned way, Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a decent way of explaining it? Anything you would
It's
add?
really good. Yeah, I was even going to say, when you were saying, sweating and all these things, even like the tight shoulders, the pain in your back, like we go through all of these physical things when we are not in alignment, and when we are doing things out of like following the secular principles and what everybody else is saying as far as aligning. But when we are truly aligned, we are just able to find that like peace in our bodies. Actually, it's like in your body.
I wanted you to go first, Melissa, because I wanted to make the connection of listening to our body and then connecting that with the spiritual aspect, because there's always an underlying spiritual heart thing that goes along with this, where we listen to the trigger in our body, or we notice the trigger in our body, and then we're able to refocus back on Jesus and be like, hey, what is going on here? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Where do I need to be focusing my time? Because when, like last week's episode, when we talked about peace in the mind, the body, the spirit, like that just speaks to so much. That's where we want to be. And how do we get there? When we're not there, there is something out of alignment, and it could just be a simple little tweak of refocus. Something that I noticed that I do is my thumb. I'm trying to do the alignment in the camera. Is my thumb, like I'll notice that my thumb is like tense, like this, and I'll be like, oh, okay. So what is it that I'm experiencing right now that the tension is coming through in my thumb? And I remember when I was a little girl, I was in the dentist chair, and my mom was in the room with me. And I remember her leaning forward and taking my thumb and like bending it down and saying, oh, she puts stress in her thumb just like me. And so, of course, there's this thing, that has gone with me through my whole life, where stress is in my thumb, and we use our thumb for so many different things. But anyways, I could go off in a totally different area, but I just love the awareness of listening to our body and then saying, okay, Jesus, what's going on here? And really just asking him. It is as simple as this, either we know or we don't, and we ask him.
It wasn't until I started receiving coaching that I was even remotely aware of the connection between emotions and body. So I was just as stressed. I mean, that it was before I started getting coaching that I had stage 4 adrenal fatigue and all of the things but yet I will say I had read so many personal development books. I had gone to all sorts of conferences. It wasn't like I was not intentionally trying to grow, but it wasn't until I had regular coaching with who I feel like was it still is a really, really great coach, that I kind of got into the habit of her first asking me regularly. But then, of course, you start to ask yourself these same good questions. But when I would say something, here's what I'm thinking about, here's my emotional state, my mental state, yada, 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 here's the problem. Then the question was, where are you holding that in your body?
Yeah.
And I hated having to even pause. I'm a doer and I want action. And I hated to have to even pause and think about it. I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to have to feel, I feel the emotions and I don't want to feel those, but I don't want to have to stop and feel anything else. Let's just move past the feeling.
I'm thinking about our clients when we ask them that. I'm thinking about our clients when we ask them that, because I know on coaching calls, okay, where are you feeling that?
Yeah.
But it's so true. It's definitely a connection you want to make.
Mm-hmm. And it is still, I would say, sometimes it's easy now for me and other times it's not. It's actually much easier for me now to feel or pinpoint, I will say. It's much easier for me to pinpoint where a negative emotion is actually more than a positive emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's across the board, if that resonates if it's that way for everybody. If for a positive emotion for me, so that would be like when I know I'm in alignment, I'm like, loving life, full of joy, full of gratitude. the end result for me is physical movement. You know, I might be jumping, I might be smiling, I might be screaming, yada, yada. But where I'm actually holding that in my body still is harder for me to pinpoint than a negative emotion.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was getting a picture of a flowing river. You know, you have a clear flowing river.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
when it's flowing, it just flows. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to pinpoint anything because everything is in the flow.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
Then when a big boulder drops in the middle,
Right.
It's like, whoa, now we've got
right. It gets stuck in that spot.
Yeah. And so I think that's why it's so we're able to pinpoint, and we go to pinpointing those negative because it has to be dealt with.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I can agree. I feel the same way. Every time it's like you can feel where that negativity is. You can feel those points, which is like you're saying, that's such a good comparison. I love that. The whole, like, you're in flow, like you're flowing when you're positive, you know, so you can't point the actual spots because it's just, yeah.
What I have started trying to do is to, as I'm going into gratitude or going into feeling the positive emotions in a quiet space, is to just be aware. I'm not making a, pressure on myself, but just to be aware, does my heart feel warm? Or do I feel kind of a fire in my belly in a good way? And expecting it, asking for it and expecting it. But I will say that I do think that it's accurate what we're talking about, just the flow. And because for me, that is why action comes out, is because, like, it's exuding through every cell, like I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go with whatever has come my way as a result of being in alignment.
We're in our John Maxwell, developing the leader, and I'm on the vision chapter. And what stood out to me today was the difference between a visionary and a person with vision. And a person with vision creates action. A visionary actually sometimes sits there like dreaming and not actually putting the action to place. And so, of course, I wrote out this prayer like, Lord, please help me be more of a person with vision. But anyways, as you were saying that, I was reminded of that this morning, of really focusing on that vision and then feeling and then the action that goes with that.
It's good. So one thing that I wanted to chat through was the level of permission that needs to be required for alignment to be achieved.
Yeah. Because
it would be really great if there was a 5-point checklist to just be 200% sure that you're in alignment. However, that removes all possibility of learning from failure and learning from mistakes. If you are 200% sure before you act that you're in alignment, then you are going to be missing out on all the lessons that could be learned. And so there's nothing to fear from fog. There's nothing to fear from a lack of clarity. But it does tie into alignment, because if we are pressing so hard for alignment, if we are so adamant that we're going to wait until we're in alignment to move, then we're really going to be missing out on a lot of opportunity. So just a little mindset shift.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Is that background noise of mine? Can you hear me okay?
Barely. It's not bad. I don't know who it is, but yeah, you can go ahead.
So, I think that's really good, that you pointed that out, because I'm like, it's true. We need to fail in order to move forward. So it's like, are we ever really 100% in alignment, or is there like that 80-20, like that gap of like, okay, we might be 80% aligned, but we have to still have that 20% open to like what can be changed, what can, what other things can we do to get a little bit more into it. So it's really good. Now I got to think about that. Like,
Well, and you'll notice, and I think we as women tend to compare ourselves to other people. You come into a group, you're like just stalking and watching and seeing what people are up to, and then people share wins, and you're like, oh, that's great. I don't know. They must have really, been in alignment to do that. Okay, so really, the chances of that being repeated day after day after day, that's not realistic. But what happens when somebody, makes a huge leap ahead is that in that moment, mind, body, spirit, we're all in alignment, including their actions. And that's when those huge, what some people call quantum leaps, that's when that really happens, is that everything lines up and then you leap ahead. But in between those leaps, there is a lot of fog. There's a lot of figuring out. There's a lot of experimentation. And if we hate that journey, then it just limits the next time that everything gets into alignment to leap ahead again. Yeah. So, do you guys want to help me this week with the ABCD of alignment?
Yeah, I'm sitting here as you're talking, like, what would that mean? So for myself, as I sat and thought about A, would definitely be aware of the physical. So becoming aware and acknowledging the physical trigger when you are out of alignment. And that could be one thing. It's most likely not just one thing. Like there is more, and listing those out, writing them down so that way when they come up, you can tackle them. So that would be A for me, awareness and acknowledgement.
Yeah. Melissa, why don't you speak to the role that with B and believe, the healing and maybe forgiveness and the impact that that has on the body in conjunction with alignment?
Yeah. So I'm going to say with B, we need to believe that we can be healed, because when we have that belief, you see so many things actually happen. I've had this conversation actually a few times lately, talking about seeing in my own personal experiences where I was in this place of not being the best, in my health and everything, but I had that faith and I had that belief that I was going to be just fine. And then I've compared and looked at other people that I've seen go through really horrible things that as soon as they found out they were something, they gave up and you saw the decline happen. So I think, having that belief that you can heal and that you can be in optimal wellness and feeling your best is going to actually lead you to that place of alignment within, within your body.
Yep. That's good. I will move forward with the C, and that would be truly loving both the lesson and the leap. So if you really are okay with the result being either a lesson or a leap ahead, and you love that, then the alignment is going to come much more quickly and easily. And then D, that would be dance. That's going to be taking action on what you feel inspired to do. Now, there may be, again, you don't necessarily just want to take an aligned action. You want to take an inspired, in spirit action. Because again, it goes back to what do I want to be aligned with? And so you may have a good question at point A, B, C, and D. Maybe your question for point A is, what do I want to be in alignment with? What am I believing about this alignment? What do I need to love in order for me to be in alignment with XYZ? And then D, what is the inspired action that I'm going to take as a result of going through this process.
Sorry. I was gonna add, just like in scripture, when Melissa was talking about we can be healed, believing that we can be healed, scripture tells us that we are healed. And so believing and stepping into that promise that God has healing for us, and aligning with that promise in scripture. And then also, well, I mean, there's scripture for every single one of these, and I'm sure we can.
Well, I was thinking, awake, O sleeper.
Yeah. Come to me, all those who are weary. When we're acknowledging the body, what's going on in our body, if we are out of alignment, we're weary, we're tired. There's adrenal fatigue that sets in, that Melissa talks a lot about, and even Tracy herself experienced. I was never diagnosed, but I know I've experienced it too. So come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest and peace.
Okay. Good. So, gosh, I love these conversations because A, they're applicable. B, we can take something that is so big and complex and confusing and frustrating, and narrow it down to leaving with 4 simple, small action steps that you can really take to apply right now or every single day, with repetition. And really, truly, what we've talked about today, done on a daily basis, if you go back to this ABCD every single day, look ahead at what's on your calendar, look ahead at what result, that one single result you want for your work day or your personal life that day, and then go back and check yourself on the ABCD, and your life is going to be radically different. It's from the repetition of doing that new habit that things are going to radically change, and it doesn't take long to feel that difference. So, thank you guys so much for joining. Amber and Melissa, thank you all for watching. Please let us know in the comments below what your top takeaway has been and what you're going to do as a result of this Materialize TV. And then we want to invite you to be sharing Materialize Impact, the Facebook group you can see in the banner below. There's the address, but simply if you just search Facebook for Materialize, you will see Materialize Impact, our private community, come up, and we've got so much goodness in there that we would love to be able to share and bless you with and your friends, your family. And then looking ahead, guess what? We are already going to be starting to talk about the laptopless lifestyle. So we recommend wearing a shirt to the laptopless lifestyle, but we recognize that people have been consumed with their laptops in an effort to live a laptop lifestyle. And now we really have seen a need for a laptop-less lifestyle. So we are going to be hosting a workshop in about a month or so. And so we want to give you a heads up to get on the wait list for that. And you can simply do that by commenting laptopless below, and we'll make sure that we get you added and in the loop so that you can begin to live a laptop-less lifestyle.
That's right.
Shirts required.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We will talk to you again on Materialize TV next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.